I'm Benny Politan. Great to have you with us tonight here on Closing Arguments, and our live trial coverage continues here on your front row seat to justice. We wrapped up the Murdaugh trial at the end of last week. Obviously, there's more news coming out of that case, and we'll get to it this hour. However, I want to start with the brand new trial here on Court TV, but maybe just new to you, because this is a retrial. We covered this first time around right before COVID shut down courtrooms across the nation. And this is a guy who was almost set free by the last jury. He was an ice cream man who was a victim of a crime. The people responsible were never caught, so the accusation against him, because he's the defendant now, not the victim, the accusation is that he acted out in revenge to go after those who attacked him. But now he's charged with double murder, also shooting 4 others. Here's the story.
It is certain that we cannot reach a unanimous verdict.
On day 2 of deliberations in Michael Keetley's murder trial, a jury in Tampa, Florida declared they were deadlocked.
I am declaring a mistrial in the case.
Now, the former ice cream truck driver faces a retrial on murder and attempted murder charges in a 2010 shooting that left 2 brothers dead and 4 others injured. Prosecutors said Keetley was out for revenge after an armed robber on his ice cream truck crippled his hand and robbed him of his livelihood.
He prayed every day that the people that did this would be brought to justice. He became frustrated. That frustration led him to start his own investigation.
Witnesses said Keetley's investigation led him to this man, Omar Bailon, who went by the nickname of Creeper.
We didn't have nothing to do with it. I didn't have nothing to do with it.
Prosecutors claimed Keetley tracked Bailon to the neighborhood where he lived the morning of Thanksgiving 2010, but targeted the wrong people.
Where was he when he first said something to you and the others on the porch?
Walking up the steps.
And he said what again?
Where's Creeper?
Brothers Sergio and Juan Guitron were killed. 4 of their friends survived and relived the trauma on the witness stand.
He had a rifle with him. And he pumped it, he clocked it.
But Keetley's surgeon testified that it would be extremely unlikely that he would have been able to use a gun because of his injuries. Gonzalo Guevara was the sole survivor, and he identified Keetley as the gunman in a photo lineup.
What did you do when you saw that?
I started to cry.
Because what?
Anger. Because of Sergio and Juan.
What did you tell Detective Lugo about that photograph?
Because that's the guy that shot me.
Keetley's lawyer at the time, Leanne Gowdy, tried to cast doubt on Guevara's identification. She argued that it was a result of a tainted witness pool and flawed police protocol. When Keetley stands trial again, he will have a new defense team. Gowdy, who represented him for 9 years, is now a judge. The first jury that heard the case wasn't persuaded to convict, but prosecutors believe they have enough evidence to send Keetley away for life.
Now, a couple things. You have to remember for that first trial, he had a great attorney, number one, and we'll see how his second attorney does, but it was 10-2 for acquittal. 10-2 for acquittal. So this close, but not quite. You know, when defense attorneys always say, yeah, we just want to hang the jury. No, they wanted to win this one, but they didn't. So we got a retrial. Number 2, to understand what this case is about, if you think back to Charles Bronson movies, those Death Wish movies, it's kind of like that, only the allegation is he goes after the wrong people, not even the people who attacked him. He's acting out his revenge on the wrong people, like people, 100% innocent people. Unbelievable. Let's bring in Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson joining us tonight from downtown Tampa, Florida. Matt, great to see you. Let's start here with the state's opening. How did they portray this shooting? How did they describe it?
Hey, Vinny, nice to see you as well. Wow, the state came out swinging. Prosecutor Jennifer Johnson was talking to this jury and really driving home the fact and how violent these murders were and only could have been committed by someone seeking revenge. Take a listen.
The law enforcement officer demands they pull out their identification cards to see if they're telling the truth, which they do. He tells them to get down, which they do. They get down on their knees. They pull out their driver's license. And Creeper Omar Bayan is not there. That's when, one by one, execution style, the defendant shoots the victims. This lone gunman is there, and when the first victim is shot, that's when they realize this is not a law enforcement officer.
And this jury, very engaged. They have notebooks, Vinny, but they were not writing down many notes. They were really paying attention to both prosecution and defense, especially when she was pointing at him at that defense table, calling him a killer. But this trial, number 2, very different. She cannot call him vigilante.
That's a big difference. We can, I can. He's an alleged vigilante. I mean, that's what they're accusing him of. Not evidence. I guess it's not the right language for the courtroom. All right, let's go to the defense open now. How did they portray what happened to Keetley, to the ice cream man? Because at one point he was the victim of something.
Right, because that starts the whole series of events. No matter if he did it or not, it starts this series of events. And that brings us to today. So John Grant, he was very dynamic, very demonstrative in what he was talking about, raising his voice at times and talking to this jury, saying, my client wanted justice, but he didn't want to kill anybody. Take a listen.
They did not tell you that the people who put a gun to him were wearing ski masks. And they did not tell you that all he could see was their eyes. They wanted everything. They gave him everything, all $12. And then they shot him. And then they shot him again. I don't think the facts will show exactly how he got in that driver's seat and was able to drive himself to safety. But somehow he did. And somehow he got help. And somehow he got taken to Tampa General Hospital. Michael Keetley arrived with shots to his leg, chest, shoulder, and hand.
Really demands attention in the courtroom, much like you, former prosecutor, I'm sure, when you were practicing. And he had a show of support there with him. He had his wife watching him deliver the opening statements and some of the questioning. But they also had some family friends there, including children. And everybody in the courtroom was wondering who they were. So not anyone there for the defendant himself. Those folks were there on the defense side for the attorneys.
I remember being in the courtroom when I was a young little guy watching my dad at work inside a courtroom. So I understand that. It's a big moment. Okay, let's talk about the defendant's ex. Former girlfriend testified. What did she have to say?
Really interesting testimony. She testified in the first trial. This was an on-again, off-again relationship of about 9 months or so. And she was talking about running into her ex, this defendant, after he had been shot. She had taught him the ropes of ice cream selling. She did it herself. And she knew very well that the suspect was still on the loose. Here's what she said about when she ran into him and not noticing any disability.
When you made observations of him from that in-person contact, that one in-person contact, did you notice anything unusual or deformed or any kind of abnormality about his hand or his hand use?
No, I didn't.
Now, the defense, again, they are going to put on a case, Vinny. They say that it's impossible for this defendant to have done these murders because he has a disability. He's unable to fire a weapon. But prosecutors keep watching. They are going to put some experts on the stand, possibly. They're going to bring up the theory that maybe he altered one of the guns and it was easier to shoot.
Yeah, that was a big, big part of that first case, and that right hand would come up and he would show him what he couldn't do, and we'll see. This is a tough one for prosecutors. The IDs aren't great. He's sort of a victim, but we shall see. Matt Johnson will be speaking again. Matt, covering his case for us down in Tampa, Florida tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Joining us from afar in the Dominican Republic tonight, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland. And in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, family law attorney Jennifer Brand is with us. Great to see everyone. Okay, Al, let me start with this notion of the defense spending a lot of time talking about him as a victim. How on earth does that help the defense? I mean, are they going to just describing that, yeah, he was, to me, that's the motive in all of this. And by the way, the people who were shot had nothing to do with robbing him. So you're not going to do that old, like, you know, topsy-turvy, make him into the victim in this case, because he's not. And then the 6 people he shot had nothing to do with the robbery. So where are they going with painting this picture of him as the victim?
Well, you have to get some sympathy. And you know, you mentioned about death wish. I'm going to buy the rights and call this dairy death wish, because that's what this kind of thing is. And he provoked utter chaos at the scene, which is going to help him with regards to his case. And as I look at it from the standpoint of painting him as the victim, painting him as someone that has a problem with his hand, it's going to make him feel, or like the jury see, that he's a human being, that there was something else that was going wrong. And in Death Wish, if you remember, Vinny, there was 1, 2, 3, and 4. He wasn't just going after people who had wronged him, or in the case, the original one was he had his wife and daughter attacked. He went after just vigilantes on the street. He went after people that were causing trouble and causing crime. So eventually he gets caught. But in this case, I think that there's going to be a lot of sympathy for a guy that was, you know, a simple ice cream man, beaten up, shot. Okay, $12 was what was taken from him, and it's just a horrible story. And I think a jury's going to be sympathetic to that. I mean, let's look at it this way: they acquitted a guy who threw popcorn, who got popcorn thrown at him, and shot the guy who threw the popcorn. So Florida, you know.
But he didn't shoot the people who robbed him. He shot 6 innocent people. Darnell, it was 10-2 last time to let this guy go. What are your thoughts about the retrial here?
Yeah, I think retrials are typically harder because the prosecutions has already looked at the case. They've already looked at the weaknesses. They've already shored up their prosecution by making sure that their witnesses are going to say what they need to what they need to have said. Their subpoena powers are getting stronger and stronger. I know this from experiences. So people that didn't want to testify at the first trial now probably be threatened with incarceration, and you know the prosecution's come back with a vengeance. So you know, it was 10-2 the first time. This second trial is going to be harder for those particular reasons.
Jennifer, I know Al and I talked about Death Wish, but I also look at this defendant in the chair, and I'm thinking Mr. Rogers with that sweater. He's going with the same look. Same look as last time, and it worked. It makes him look like, you know, I don't know. Look at this.
He does. He looks like a victim. He doesn't look like someone who would murder other people. And then, you know, well, on TV, we see all these children sitting behind him, make him even look more sympathetic. I know they're not his children, but nonetheless, I mean, he doesn't, you hear about that he was a victim. You hear how he went through such trauma himself. How the defense described him, that he, you know, barely made it to the hospital. And then you see him, and he really doesn't look like such a bad guy. Plus the fact he's been sitting in jail for, what, 12 years or something? I mean, it's crazy to think that if he is innocent, he's been sitting there all that time. You got to feel a little bit sorry for him. So
I think you would be a little more outraged. I mean, he seems very comfortable, Al. He looks very comfortable. Living 12 years in prison. I mean, he knows what happened or didn't happen. He knows the truth, yet he doesn't seem so outraged that the trial has taken some time here.
I think he looks beaten down. I know you're asking Al, but I think he looks beaten down to me. He looks like he's just sort of given up.
I think that's the look of someone who knows he's innocent, okay, and has made a stand. That's why he spent 12 years, because I'm sure a deal could have been worked out very readily after the first acquittal, and he said no. And
So who was looking for Creeper? Who was looking for Creeper? Why did he? You know, there's another little fact in this case that really stuck with me last time, is that the night of the shootings, the murders, for some reason, he has to get a friend of his to paint his van in the wee hours of the night into the wee hours of the morning. Like, it's an emergency. Quick, I need my van painted now. Like, who needs an emergency paint job on your van?
Obviously, you've never been to Earl Scheib. That was always 24 hours. You could go in and get any car for $99.95. So let's keep that in mind.
Hey, Vinny.
Yes, 15 seconds, Darnell, go ahead.
I just want to ask you, can you ask Al, can I borrow a pen, please?
Yeah.
Me too.
That's a good one. All right.
Even in the Dominican Republic, he's still funny.